Hey friends, welcome to today's video. I'm really excited about this video because I know you are going to be excited about this video. This was highly requested. I shared about a month or so ago how I discovered a Jane Iredale powder foundation that just like knocked my socks off. And so many of you chimed in and said how much you love Jane Iredale products and how they need to get more love on YouTube and on social media. So I am doing a full face of Jane Iredale products. I've got my cushy bag here filled with products. If I have to grab a brow product or something here and there, then I will, but for the most part, we're gonna try and play with as much of these goodies as we can. All right, so let me get organized and let's see what I have in here. What I love about this cushy bag, by the way, you can't really see it here, but it completely like unzips all the way. So I can really like lay the bag flat and see everything that I have in here. So I'm gonna pull the products out so I can get kind of organized, see what we have so I don't skip or miss anything. All right, so let me just run through quickly what I have. I have a really beautiful like shimmery blush brick. It has different shades here of peach, kind of mauve, some rosy. It looks like it could be used for a blush or a highlighter. I've got the Barely Rose blush that I purchased about a month or so ago that I absolutely love. This is a matte blush. I have the Mineral Pressed Foundation, which I love. This is really what kind of made me so excited to explore more about Jane Iredale products. I have a little eyeshadow palette here. For the most part, the shades lean pretty cool, but there is a warm shade in here, so I can create a look with this for the eyes. I have a lip liner in the shade Terracotta. I have a concealer, which I'm really excited. This is called the Active Light Under Eye Concealer, so I'm excited to try that out. I have a couple of cream sticks here. Let's see what we have. So we have a bronzer stick. This is the shade Sizzle. We will use this. We have a blush. Ooh, this is pretty, like a really pretty coral cream bronzy shade. I'm all about the cream bronzer, you guys know that. And then we have a cream highlighter. And this kind of reminds me of like, almost like an opal or moonstone color. I don't know if you can see that. I don't really wear highlighters too much. We'll play with it so you guys can kind of see it on my skin. And then I have an illuminating glow face primer, so we will play with this today. And then we have a couple of setting sprays. I have this lavender calming setting spray, which I used the other night before I went to bed, and it was just like incredible. I liked it because it smelled like true lavender. It didn't smell like artificial, you know what I'm saying? It just smelled like you go to a spa, you smell lavender essential oils, and that's what you have here. And then I have the hydration spray, which pairs well with the foundation. So I'm gonna use this for the powder foundation. And then the last two products I have are a couple of lip products. I have a lip stain in the shade Muse, and then I have a lip gloss in the shade Summer Peach. All right, you guys, so let's go ahead and get started. I am going to play with this Illuminating Glow primer, just because I have it and why not? So let's see what the texture of this looks like and feels like. Okay, so this is the texture of it. It's a nice kind of solid, thick cream. It doesn't slide down, isn't runny or watery. Let's rub this into the skin. It feels like a skincare product, really much like a moisturizer. So this is what it looks like on the skin. You can see a really pretty glow to the skin. I don't really see any pearlescent or shimmer to it. So it's an illuminating primer. It's an illuminating glow primer, but I don't see pearlescent or glow. I don't see any shimmer to the product. You do get a glow, but there's no shimmer. So we're gonna take a little bit of this. I'm just gonna take a little and we're gonna apply this onto the skin. My skin has a little bit of a tan. I've been using the M61 Power Glow peels that have a self tanner on them. I love them. I'm just gonna press this onto the skin. Okay, so that actually seemed to have smoothed out my pores a little bit. I didn't expect that. There's no mention on this product of it being a blurring primer, but it definitely, I felt like my pores kind of slightly diminished once I applied that. Okay, so since I'm using a powder foundation, I'm gonna apply my concealer first. Normally I like to apply liquid foundation first, then concealer, but I'm gonna go in and apply this. This is the Active Light Under Eye Concealer, and I believe this is number, oh, it's hard to tell. I think it's number 2. There's like a little batch number kind of stamped right above the shade, so I'm not certain which this is. It's a little pen, so I'm gonna take the time to twist it up. All right, so I'm gonna go right into the inner corner of the eye, underneath. I always like to put concealer there because I have a little bit of a green vein that you can see. And then I'm gonna pull it up to lift the eye. So the texture of this feels lightweight, but it doesn't feel as thin as a lot of other concealer pens. It almost feels like a blend between that kind of standard concealer pen, which tends to be thinner, and an actual cream concealer. It's not as thick as a cream concealer, but thicker than most pens that I've tried. So I think I could have gone a shade darker. This is a little light for me. It'll work, but it's definitely on the lighter side. And again, that doesn't help that I have self-tanner on my face. It makes it look even lighter, but I'm getting really good coverage from this. Typically, I find concealer pens are more of a lighter coverage product, but this actually gives pretty good coverage. Next, we're gonna go in and apply the foundation, and I cannot say enough good things about this product. Like I said, I picked this up maybe 6 weeks or so ago, and I bought it from a Blue Mercury store, and I'm not typically a powder foundation wearer. I typically wear liquid or cream products, but I love this. This really does give the finish more. It looks like a liquid or a cream on the skin. It doesn't look like a flat powder. I'm gonna use the BK Beauty 104 brush, and I'm gonna load up the side of the brush, and I'm just gonna press it onto the skin. What I like about powder foundations, or this particular powder foundation, is it's very like customizable, depending on the brush that you use. And actually this is the case with any powder foundation, but depending on the brush that you use will determine the coverage that you get. If you use like a really dense small brush, like let's say something like the BK Beauty 106, you'll get full coverage. If you use a sponge, you'll get full coverage. If you use something like the 104, you're gonna get a good like kind of medium or moderate coverage. And if you want really light coverage, you can take, you know, something long and fluffy and soft. This is the BK Beauty 102, and it'll just apply the product really light and sheer. The one mistake I think people make though with powder foundations is they forget that it's actually a foundation, and so they'll use it as a setting powder on top of a liquid or cream. It's basically like putting a cream foundation on and then going and grabbing a liquid foundation and putting it on top of that. It's just adding, you know, layers of foundation that you don't necessarily need. So really treat it like a foundation. The one case that I would say you can layer it over another is if you use like a large fluffy brush like the 102 and you're just applying a very sheer layer. I do like powder foundations for that purpose. This particular powder foundation though, it really does like smooth out texture on the skin. It has like a very soft velvety matte finish. It doesn't look flat, matte, or dry. Sometimes heavy powders can accentuate texture in the skin, and for me, this one really doesn't. It just smooths everything out. Okay, so I added brows real quickly off camera. We're gonna go in and warm up the skin. Now, because I've applied a powder foundation, I normally wouldn't go in with a cream bronzer, but I'm gonna use this product in the best way that I recommend to apply cream over powder products. And that is, instead of going from the product to the skin, actually take your brush and pick up the product that way and then go to the skin. This is the best way to apply cream over powder without disrupting the powder that you have underneath it. And also just press it onto the skin. You can see I'm not dragging or pulling or moving what's underneath. I'm just applying the cream right on top by pressing. Now, because you're doing it this way and you're not going directly to the skin, you will find you have to kind of layer it a little bit. The first application is going to be nice, light, and sheer, and then you can go on and layer. If I were to go directly to the skin, let me actually swatch this for you guys to see the payoff of this. If I were to swatch it directly on the skin, I'm going to get a lot more product payoff than the way that I'm doing it. But again, because I have powder underneath, this is the best way to just have it blend seamlessly and not make it look patchy or mess up your foundation. Oh, that's so pretty. So this color is on the lighter side for me, but it's really beautiful and natural. Like I could go a little bit deeper if I wanted, but I also love this. It looks very natural. It has a nice, this particular color, by the way, is called Sizzle, and it's in between like a cool and warm tone shade. Like it's not really cool or gray, but it's also not really like warm or red. It doesn't have a lot of red in it. It's right in between. So this would really be, honestly, I rarely find products that could be both a contour or a bronzer, but this one could. The texture of it too, it's nice and creamy, but it's not thick. Oh, I love that. Okay, that is gorgeous. I'm gonna put a little bit on the side of my nose. Also, when you use a bronzer stick that's on the lighter side like this, it's just a little more easier to blend like with your fingers or to wear, you know, with just tinted SPF or without any makeup and wear it by itself because it's, you know, a little more light and natural. So I'm gonna go in and add a little color to the cheeks, and I have two products really. I have the blush that I already know I love. It's called Barely Rose. It's this really pretty like peachy matte shade. But I'm gonna go in with this new product that they sent to me, and let me actually see what the name of this is. So it comes in a refillable compact. So you get the compact and then you get the refillable pan inside of it. And I'll just leave the name of this shade in the description box below because I can't easily pop this out and I don't wanna mess it up. But essentially when this would run out, I would pop this out and I would refill it. But this is a really beautiful shade. Let me show you what it looks like when I swatch it. It's definitely more of a highlighter. Actually, I'm gonna use both. I'm gonna use the blush and this because now that I see this on my skin, it definitely leans more as a highlighter than a blush color. You could use it as a blush, but I want a little more color to my cheeks. So I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna use the same 104 brush, and I'm gonna use the shade Barely Rose. And we're just gonna use the tip of this brush. Even though this brush is large and fat, it has a tapered tip. So if you just wanna have a little more control over the product, you can just use the tip. And I'm gonna smile and sweep that onto the apples of my cheek, and then also sweep it upward. Oh, that's pretty. Yeah, I know this. I'm acting like this is the first time I've used this. This is a really pretty blush. It's matte, but it's like got this velvety matte finish to it, so very nicely pigmented. It's just a great everyday shade. It'll work on lighter skin tones or skin tones maybe even a little bit deeper than me. Next, I'm gonna go in with the highlighter, and I'm gonna use a different brush for this application. I'm actually gonna use this new brush. It's the BK Beauty 112, and it's this tiny little angled blush brush. I'm not sure when this video will go up. We're launching this. I'm filming this on, today's like what? Today's the 12th. We're launching this on the 20th. So this video might go up right before that, or it might go right up after that. But it's a new brush to BK Beauty. It's a tiny little angled. It's also not super dense, so it doesn't pick up a whole lot of product. So it's great for like highlighting products like this. And I'm just gonna start here at the temple, like kind of where my brow ends. And I'm just going to kind of sweep it down. I am gonna avoid the cheeks because I have larger pores there, and shimmer can sometimes magnify that. So I'm gonna avoid applying this on the cheeks. So to start with eyes, I am gonna prime the eyes. I don't have an eye primer from Jane Iredale, so I'm gonna go in with my MAC paint pot in the shade Ochre. I'm gonna use my finger to blend this out. This is one of my favorite eye primers because it's just a basic light flesh tone color. So it just cancels out any discoloration on the lid, but it's not going to alter or change the color of the shadows you use since it's just like base. It's like a blank slate. So I'm gonna be working with this palette. It's called Storm Chaser, and it has a variety of shades in here, mostly cool tone. There is those little warm shades right there in the center, that rosy pink, and then the matte shade next to it. You have a variety of matte shades and shimmer shades in here. I think I'm probably gonna be working with these mostly. I don't really use a real white shimmer shade, like very rarely. And black is always a good shade to have in like for liner, to kind of line the lash line, or to use in the outer corner to deepen, but I'm probably gonna find myself staying here in this zone. So I'm gonna go in first, I'm gonna build my crease, add a little definition to the eye. I'm gonna use this matte shade right here. And I'm gonna use just a nice fluffy crease brush, nothing super large or small, just so I pick up color, but I'm also able to blend it out nicely. And I'm gonna start right at the outer corner of my eye. I'm gonna use my crease as a guide, but I'm also going to tilt my brush up and blend up so that that color kind of diffuses upward. Now, when this color goes onto the skin, it actually looks pretty cool tone in the palette. It looks a little warmer when I'm looking at the screen here, but when it goes onto the skin, it's more cool for sure. It's a really pretty kind of taupey mink shade in the crease. It's got good pigment payoff, blending out very easily. Just something soft to give a little definition. I'm curious, do you guys wear more warm or cool tone shades on the eyes? Will you drop that down below in the comments? I feel like we see a lot more warmer palettes launching than we see cool tone palettes. You know, I personally think warm is more complimenting on my eye, and I find myself leaning that direction more, but I'm curious, what do you guys think? Do you prefer cool or warm tone shades on the eye? So this matte formula is really nice. It blends out really beautifully. It's got the perfect amount of pigment. It's not too much, so it's very easy to work with, but you get good pigment payoff. You don't have to layer and layer and layer and work and work and work for it. It really is kind of just the perfect amount. I think we have this idea that super pigmented shadows are always better. I mean, it depends, of course, of your preference, but I personally like to work with shadows that have good pigment payoff, but they're not too much because it's easier to make mistakes. You can have more fallout that way. They can be harder to blend. They can translate darker on the skin. Like, this is a very high quality level eyeshadow. Very pretty. Okay, next I'm gonna go in and I am gonna add a tiny bit of this purple. I'm gonna add a little bit of this purple just to deepen. I don't necessarily want it to turn into a purple eyeshadow look, but I do wanna slightly deepen this crease. And because I have that neutral down first, it's gonna tone down the purple in this shadow. If I were to go direct from this purple directly onto the eyelid without that neutral, it would definitely lean more purple. Pretty. Okay, next I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna pack this shimmery rosy shade onto the eyelid, and I'm using the BK Beauty 206, and I'm using the side of the brush to load it up, and then we're just gonna go and pack that onto the eyelid. Okay, that's pretty. It's looking a little lighter on my eye than it does in the palette. I thought it was gonna be more red on the eye, but I like it actually. It's a soft pink. That's really nice. I'll be honest, when I opened this palette, I wasn't sure how these were gonna work together, but I really like this. I like that the pink is translating more of a lighter color on my lid than more red. This would go with a warm shadow in the crease too, like if you had a bronzy shade or like a more like orange based brown, it would look really pretty too. Okay, so one thing I don't have from Jane Iredale is liner and mascara. So I'm gonna go in with a new liner. It's from actually Colleen Rothschild, which is traditionally a skincare brand, but they recently launched a few makeup products in the eye category. So I have this coal black smoke and smudge eyeliner pencil. They came out with a pencil and then they also came out with a liquid liner, but we're gonna do the pencil first. It's a fresh pencil. I haven't even used it yet, and it's black, and you guys know I rarely wear black. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the thinnest little line at the lashes, very, very thin. I'm also gonna tight line. Ooh, okay, this goes so rich on the waterline. Super, super pigmented, which is what you want if you're tight lining, because you don't want anything that you have to layer over and over and over because it can irritate the eye. It's super rich, you guys. It's nice for the lid too. If you have it super sharp, you can get a very thin line. Do you see how thin I got that? Like, I don't have a lot of real estate on my lids. When my eyes are open, you don't see a whole lot of my lid. So I really try not to cover that with a heavy liner. And then I'm gonna slowly or slightly wing this out, I should say. Just very, very slight baby wing. Tiny, tiny, tiny. I am gonna go over this with eyeshadow, and I'm gonna go ahead and use the black that comes in the palette. And I'm using the BK Beauty 208 brush, and we're just gonna pick up a little bit of the shadow. I am going to make sure that I tap, and I'm even gonna blot it on my hand because I don't want that shadow to fall onto my face. It's very hard to clean that up. And I'm just gonna run this right over that eyeliner. It's not only going to kind of set that eyeliner, it's gonna keep it from smudging and moving throughout the day. Think of taking eyeshadow and placing it over a kohl pencil as taking setting powder and applying it over your foundation. Kohl pencils are waxy, so even if they set and stay in place, sometimes, you know, as your skin heats up throughout the day, or if you apply too much and it's layered, or you have oily skin, that product can move and smudge and migrate. So putting a shadow on top of it, like I'm doing right now, is a great way to kind of set it and lock it in place. Ooh, okay, that looks really good. I'm kind of digging that. Okay, next we're gonna go in and add a little definition to the lower lashes. I'm not gonna do a black pencil because I feel like that's just too heavy for me. So I'm gonna go back into the palette, and I'm actually gonna take the shade that we used in the crease, and we're just gonna kind of smoke out the lower lash line with this shade. Okay. I love this. Very simple, very clean, very elegant. I'm gonna go in and apply mascara, and since I don't have a Jane Iredale mascara, I'm gonna use a new mascara from Colleen Rothschild. This is another new product that they just launched. I'm gonna go ahead and curl my lashes first. Okay, we're gonna try this without lash primer because I don't have my like tried and true Dior lash primer up here, and I wanna see how this performs on its own. So this is what the wand looks like. Kind of just like your traditional mascara wand, kind of shaped more like an oval. All right, let's get right in here to the base of the lashes. I like to wiggle the wand back and forth. That's gonna help you get most of the product applied at the base of the lashes. Once it's there, then you can pull up and extend. Okay, nice and light, very clean. Separates the lashes well. I do want more volume and length, so I'm gonna go back and build. Okay, that's pretty. So not a super dramatic high impact mascara, but it's a very beautiful, clean, it gives you natural wisp, like a soft wispy look to the lashes. It looks like a super natural false lash. You know the false lash strips that are, you know, they just look like a natural lash, but they're also perfect. Like all the lashes are like perfectly fanned out. That's what this mascara is doing for me. It's giving me that perfect fanned out look, but very natural. Ooh, okay. On this side, I'm getting better payoff. It's because I'm missing a lot of lashes on this side. Okay, this is gorgeous. I love this. It took me some time to build it, but that is like the perfect lash. Okay, I love that. I'm gonna add a little more to the other side. My right lash, which is this lash here, like sometimes I get these chunks of lash hairs missing. I think they're all in a different growth cycle. There's like a part of my lashes that just don't grow. Ooh, that is so beautiful. Okay, that's gorgeous. Very beautiful. Really like this mascara. It's not a like high impact dramatic mascara, but if you want really fanned out pretty lashes, this will do it. So for lips, I'm gonna line the lips with Terracotta Lip Pencil from Jane Iredale. That's pretty. The little swatch on the end looks a little more browny, but when it goes on the lips, it's actually a really pretty rosy pink. Then I'm gonna go in and use the lip stain in Muse. Just pressing it onto the lips. I'm gonna give it time to set. I like this color, just a good everyday. Not too peachy, not too pinky, just a nice neutral rosy shade. I'm gonna let that set for a second and then we'll go and top it with a little bit of gloss. Okay, so the lip stain has had time to set. It definitely feels like a lip stain, but comfortable. It doesn't feel tight or dry. I mean, it feels matte, but it doesn't feel tight or dry. Ooh. It didn't really transfer. I only let it set for maybe 30 or 45 seconds. It set really quickly. Okay, it looks good on its own, but I am gonna add a little bit of this gloss just because I wanna play with it. This is the shade Summer Peach. It is the Hydro Pure Hyaluronic Lip Gloss. Slight scent to it, but not like overly scented. This gloss has some shimmer to it. Oh my gosh, this feels really unique. It almost doesn't feel like a glossy texture. It kind of feels more like a lip cream, almost like a lip cream hybrid. It gives some shine to the lips, but it's not super like glossy, wet looking. Really pretty. The shimmer is very microfine, so it doesn't look like glitter on the lips. It just like reflects all the light and makes your lips look shiny, but not in a glossy finish. Does that make sense? I don't know, I like it without the gloss and I like it with the gloss. I would probably pair this by itself though, or on top of a lip cream, like a lipstick. And I'd probably wear the lip stain by itself because I really liked the way the lip stain looked by itself and it felt really comfortable and I love the color. And this is the finished look. I really like how the makeup turned out. Like I really love this look. And I will be honest, when I opened this palette, I wasn't sure it was gonna be a palette that I would like create something like this from. I really like it. Let me share kind of my top favorites. There's a few things I didn't get to use in this video, like I didn't use the stick highlighter and I didn't use the stick bronzer. Let me go ahead and swatch them for you guys so you can see though what they look like. This is the stick highlighter in the shade Cosmo. This is what it looks like. So it's a pretty like opalescent shade. And then let me swatch the cream blush stick for you. This is the shade Fervor. It's a really pretty coral shade. Okay, this is nice. I'm gonna swatch this a couple of times. So the first swatch is a couple of times, the next one is one swatch, because I want you to see how it applies. So the one out here is just one swatch, and then this is layered a couple of times. So you can get a more sheer application, or you can build it and get a little bit more. And this is a really pretty, almost kind of like bubblegum peachy pink shade. It's got some peach to it, but it definitely has some pink in there as well. But other than that, I used everything. I think the products that really stood out to me, aside from the foundation, because that's something that I've already, you know, talked about here on my channel, I really loved the quality of these shadows. Like I want to go and see some more of their color combinations. I mean, I liked this one, but I want to see what else they have. I want to see if they have a more warmer palette too. But the quality of these are really, really nice, you guys. They have just the right amount of pigment. Again, not too much and definitely enough. So I really liked this. I loved this lip stain, super comfortable, dried really quickly. I love this particular shade, very lightweight, felt great on the lips. What else did we have that I want to share? I love the bronzer. The bronzer stick was really nice. This is the shade Sizzle. This will definitely stay here on my vanity and I'll continue to use this. I might even take it downstairs and use this daily when I head to the gym. It's a really great product. Love this. And then what else do I want to share that really stood out to me? The concealer's nice. It didn't jump out to me as like a favorite. Oh, last I need to set everything. I forgot. So this is the kind of the secret sauce to the powder foundation. I had a lot of people ask, like, I already have this setting spray. Will that work? And when I went and purchased the powder foundation, I was talking to the Jane Iredale rep and he was saying that this was actually like, this seals it in, this helps make the powder foundation like look its best. So if you pick up the powder foundation, you definitely wanna grab this as well. So I saved that. This lip pencil is really beautiful, terracotta. The swatch doesn't do it justice. When I saw it, I was like, eh, but when I put it on my lips, I was like, this is like the perfect everyday lip color. So love this. And then this isn't Jane Iredale, but I definitely wanna call out Colleen Rothschild's eyeliner and their mascara. Their mascara, I really like the way that it looks on the lashes. So those are my standout products. I'll have everything that I use listed and linked for you down in the description box below. If you have tried any Jane Iredale products, like let us know what your favorites are. I'm really impressed with this brand. I mean, I know I have a lot of goodies here, but I'm already anxious to get back to the Blue Mercury store near my house and see what other shades I can pick up in this. Maybe test their mascara, eyeliners. Yeah, let me know what else I need to try. If they have any liquid foundations that you guys love, let me know that too. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a beautiful day and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.